This is Rob Benchley. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please answer in the response. Okay, Angus McLeod.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Clement Durkes.
Here.
Rob Benchley is here. I don't see Caroline or Mary Lathrop Will yet, but we'll continue. Good morning. This open meeting of the Sconset Advisory Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible and physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Sconset Advisory Board is convening by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Now, returning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules, effective and clear conduct. I'll introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the list of members, inviting each name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please remember to mute your phone and computer when you're not speaking, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so with the chair. After members have spoken, I will forward a public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged and speak through the chair. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. And with that, I will take a motion for the adoption of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, there's two. Okay. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Angus?
Aye.
Thank you. Clement?
Aye.
Thank you. Rob is an aye.
Mary's on.
Oh, good. And there's Mary. Good.
Mary's
Chair
on.
notes.
Hello.
Hello, hello. I guess we're going straight to 34 Memorial Lane, are we not?
Yes, sir. 34.
Holly, I
Okay.
don't see your little recording light on. Are you recording? Just,
Yep, it is. If you look at the
Okay.
top left, there's.
yeah,
just
no,
the
it
recording.
wasn't there.
Okay.
But
I see it now.
as long as you're doing it, I don't care.
I do appreciate you
is there-
checking.
Is there anybody here for the applicant?
Yes, Pavlin Vitanov, representing Karen Frisch for KMC Ventures.
Great, thank you, Pavlin. Would you like to explain this to us? Go right ahead.
Sure. So the existing structure between the garage and the house, there's a patio, and the owner is thinking about putting a big bifold glass door that will be facing that space towards the patio So it kind of extends the entertainment area from the patio towards the garage, turning the garage into a little more sightful and finished open kind of slash closed area. She's got a few children, so on a rainy day, it's nice to bring them kind of outside, but still being kind of protected from the weather. So the garage door, the existing garage doors are facing McKinley Road. Nothing's get changed there. She's just hoping to get where the triple window facing the lawn and the patio, those, yes, to turn them into a big bifold doors so she can have an access to the garage from the patio and keep, some toys and the kids eventually on a not so great day, kind of indoor, but not in the house. So the structure as it is will stay as it is. The only major change is that big door that she wants to basically cut into the wall and be accessible from the patio and the backyard area.
Okay, thank you. Any initial comments?
Mary,
Thank you. Go ahead, Mary.
so my question is the garage itself, the current garage, of any historic significance? I don't see it personally from the from just a visual of the structure, and I don't recall that it's historic, but that would be my only question.
I'm looking at of course, the application doesn't indicate as such, Mary, but the NHL data indicates that 34 Maury Lane for the house or cottage is late 1800s. It doesn't indicate the garage.
Right.
I would have to see if I can get into Macris.
Yeah, that all makes sense. I'm thinking maybe the Sievers or who had it before the Sievers, the McLaughlins, they might have built that garage. But I don't think that the bifold doors are exactly in keeping with the neighborhood, but by the same token, I don't think that there's any visual access to this from a public space. The hedge is pretty thick there. I have no objections. I'm glad to hear what Karen's plans are for this, because initially it looked like it was going to be a pool cabana. Just saying. But it doesn't sound like she has a pool in mind.
If I might say, yeah, no pool. She doesn't want to do any changes, basically, except just easier access and a little more convenient for the grandchildren when they pack the house.
Yeah, really convenient concept. I like that idea.
Okay, this is Clement. I think it's a very good idea. And I think you might see a little bit of it from Maury Lane, but when her hedge fills in, you won't at all. And it is a big patio space there, and they eat dinner out there and use it a lot. So I think this would be very useful for them. And no kidding, she has a lot of grandchildren. Might be over 10 now, I'm not sure.
This is Rob. If she's got 10 grandchildren, she's going to need a bigger garage. Thank you. I think Angus, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I think Mary had a good question. How old is this building? When was it built? So that would be nice to have. For the neighbors who are north, I'd hate to see just a blank wall. I think it's nice to have those little windows on that north side. And the fenestration that's being proposed feels modern, and it's okay for all the pool cabanas that are going in all around Sconset, but for in the village, it doesn't seem appropriate for the building itself and for the neighborhood. I think there are lots of ways to accomplish that one French door or a double French door with large windows to either side. I appreciate that the building is staying and staying the scale that it is. But as we all know, as the hedges die out in the spring, in the winter, there's a good period where you really do look through the hedges. And this isn't just a side street, but it's a well-traveled corner, and you would see this from Maury Lane. So I would rather see there be a more sensitive configuration for the fenestration.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chair,
Angus. Yep.
I did pull up Macris. And this is what you see before you right now. And
Yep.
it's indicating that it is a 1938 garage.
Hmm.
The historic name is indicated as the
Breeze.
Garage Breezes.
Huh.
But that's
Right.
definitely it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Holly. That's very informative. This is Rob. I drove by it yesterday, and my initial reaction was, it's a great use, and but it was really, really visible through the hedge. I know it's going to grow in and everything, and I too think while it's a terrific idea, I think it should be toned down a little bit. It kind of looks like a cabana. I would suggest maybe a pair of French doors and a couple of windows or something. It just seems like a lot of glass, and it's in the off season. It is pretty visible, and it's but I think it's a great use, and it's a terrific Sconset garage too. And I wouldn't want to lose all of that, but the eaves and the proportion of the building and the roof pitch and everything, it's really typical, in my opinion.
Mr. Chair, I would like to recommend to Pavlin, the agent's rep, that possibly having additional photographs besides what's been provided from Maury Lane to show what that visibility would be beneficial for the commission.
Okay, I will make a note of that. And Holly, if they were to do that, could they? Sorry, if this isn't going to come up tomorrow night, is it?
Looking at where this was submitted, this was under new business for April 6th. Let me look at their agenda, which is like 7 pages long. It is a possibility that yes, it will come up. Let me see.
If I may just add, there's a huge cherry tree in the middle of the yard. And of course, without the leaves, you can see through it, but the hedges were just trimmed for health and vigor. So they're going to be really much thicker eventually. But she also had an idea around the patio area, which is basically connecting the corner of the property, the corner of the house with the corner of the garage. There will be some more vegetation, and she's planning to redo the garden that is surrounding the patio. So the privacy effect will be there, especially with the big, it's a huge cherry tree right in the middle of it, between the garage and Maury Lane. And that gives quite a bit of a screening as well, plus the hedges in the summertime, of course. But then there will be some addition to the landscape around that patio, which is kind of surrounding the whole idea. The whole view of that double doors that will be added to the landscape.
Great. Okay, thank you for that.
Rob, to answer your question, for this application is number 35 on their list of new business for tomorrow evening. So it'll probably get, it will probably be reviewed. So what I would recommend is if there's possibility that Pavlin, you could provide a photograph from that angle, that would be beneficial for your application review.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I can do it as soon as a couple hours from now.
Great,
Perfect.
okay, thank you. I think that's a great idea. Thank you. Great, any other ideas or comments before we move on? No, okay. Great, well, thank you for coming. And we'll now, okay, Pavlin, thank you. Now we're gonna move on to 33
Karen?
Main,
Cool.
yep, 33 Main Street.
So as you can read in this application, there were also some mixed reviews of the whole concept of pools within Old Sconset. Suggestion of reducing the size. Let's see. But I know you all were more favorable due to its location. Lack of visibility perspective.
Yeah.
And
we have-
also, oh, sorry, this is Rob. Also, they do indicate the mechanicals, which is nice to see. It's not in the neighbor's hedge. It's not too close to the neighbors, is what I'm trying to say.
It's up against the barn, is it? Is that where I'm seeing it?
Looks like the north side of the garage.
Okay, good. Yeah. North, yeah, right. So, I mean, that has some impact probably on the house next door, Laughing Gull, but we can't really see how close they are there. It's probably not that close. Do we have anything more to add on this one? I think we kind of covered it. Yeah, not a problem.
Pools in this neighborhood, just like the HGC has said, and we've said in the past, is out of character, and it may be invisible, but I actually got a note from someone on Moray with the pool and pictures of the house lit up in neon blue from the pool lights, and that's, there's no recording going with it, but generally there's a sound system with music and there's pool and lights, and it really does change the character of an area, even though it's flush with the ground.
Angus, are you talking about the pool that's where Sursum Corda, what the
Yeah.
house in Sursum Corda was? Yeah, that pool's egregious. So-
Appropriately called Zoo Fest now.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's an egregious pool. There are others on Maury Lane that you don't even know are there. Fortunately, because the people who are in them didn't put disco lights in them. I think it's going to be kind of hard to tell Karen that she can't have this pool because there is a pool directly across Bunker Hill Road from her. You don't know it's there because it's pretty quiet, but it's a slippery slope, this pool thing.
It gets slippier with each pool that's installed. I mean,
Exactly.
the one on Maury that was installed is the justification for the one on Main Street. And
Yeah,
it's right across the street. So I think
yeah,
it's good to have sort of a consistent view on this.
we don't. I mean, the town doesn't.
Agreed. All right, well, I will, this is Rob. I will make a note of our continued dismay with pit pools in this neighborhood. Clement, any thoughts? If you like.
I forgot I'd muted myself. I had to move. Yeah, I mean, other than once again saying we should deny, I mean, if we could do there are no pools in the old historic SOH district. We're trying to extend that, I believe, even with the support of the Planning and Zoning Committee, to extend that to Maury Lane, to Main Street, Sconset, and that, which is SR 10, and perhaps even more parts. But I think that's coming up at the town meeting. So we have no standing right now, except to once again say, we would prefer no pools on Main Street in Sconset.
Okay, thank you. So noted.
Yeah, that would definitely require an amendment to the zoning bylaw through town meeting.
Yes. Great, thank you. Okay. Darn. Okay, new business. The casino, 13 and 15 New Street.
Oh, yeah, they're getting around to staff housing, renovating current staff housing to fit more people in with private space. And they previewed this to the membership in a letter maybe a month or so ago.
Yeah. Is there anybody here from the casino who can offer their views on this? I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. Am I correct? They just want to put a foundation underneath it. I mean, a full cellar, a full basement.
Yeah, for the new build. And then we have two applications. That's the new build. And then the other does look like they have a full basement, but they haven't designated it as living space, although I do note that it has egress windows. I don't think that that's an apartment yet. Maybe that they don't finish the basement in this go round. See, there's no basement plan. So they do have people living in the basement on the old Wiley house.
Wow.
That-
Moved in 1850. Do we know when it was constructed?
Well, if it was on North Liberty, wasn't that all kind of constructed about maybe 30 years before 1850? Wasn't that part of that area that got built? Unless it was originally a Sherburne house that.
There you go. The house was originally stood in Egypt section of town, North Liberty. It was moved to Sconset in 1850s, and in 1912 was occupied by Franklin Folger, owned by George F. Coffin. May be the house identified as that of R. Pittman on the 1850 Walling map. Well, we have been moving houses for 300 years, so.
Fascinating. I mean, this house has undergone lots and lots of renovations. It's been an inn, it's been all sorts of things. And it certainly needs some attention for its current use.
So I believe this information that's in this packet is more towards the second application. What's really in this application is the new structure, which I think we should focus on right now.
Okay.
Versus, let's go back to that. There you go.
Rob, I'm happy to start.
Okay, thank you, Angus.
I think that given the historical significance of the house in front of it, it really wants to read subordinately. And at 25 feet, it seems pretty high and maybe unnecessarily high. Looking at the floor plan, it looks like there's room for that knee wall to get a little bit lower possibly. And the gable that is facing, I guess it's the one facing west. Yeah, it feels very large. When you look at that south elevation, it looks like, you know, a something on its shoulder, you know, it feels, I think, unnecessarily heavy. The shed dormer in comparison almost feels too squashed. I would probably recommend having shed dormer on both sides, because it really is about the head space, I think, for bathrooms. And maybe even bring the pitch up to make it a little bit steeper. But I think there'll be angles from New Street that will not be that becoming of that. That's all.
I also am a little confused because I do know the area really well. I'm there all the time. I feel like these are mislabeled. I mean, rear of the building, south elevation. Well, south is facing New Street. So that would be the side that you're seeing from the historic house, from the back of the historic house. That's not exactly a pretty facade that they're showing you. So I'm wondering if some of this is a little bit mislabeled. I think what you're looking at, if you're on the terrace of, or the deck of the existing house, I think you're looking at left elevation or left west elevation, which really isn't west, it's actually facing south.
I think you're right, Mary. And when you look at the what is labeled the west, I mean the east front elevation, you see that that big gable facing south towards the road.
Yeah.
But it shows up in the west elevation saying the left
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
which is south.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think New Street is south of the way this building is oriented. That's my understanding.
Mr. Chair, it looks like when you pull into the parking lot, you're going to be looking straight at the port. So that was their orientation versus having it face New Street.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Right.
Yeah, this is Rob. So the front elevation faces the parking lot. Yeah, that porch faces the parking lot. So when you pull in the parking lot, you see the X railing and the facade with the shutters on it.
Yeah, I think that's nice, and that is correct. It is east.
Okay,
Yeah, but that elevation that you're circling, Holly, is actually south, and that's what would face New Street. Which, you know, preferably you wouldn't have the basement entrance facing New Street.
except it's behind the existing house.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of this angle will be, you know, at a 45-degree angle looking through the parking lot at this building. It is a shingled rail, so that's helpful. There's so many examples, surprisingly enough, on Main Street and New Street of shed dormers for the second floor use. I think that could be useful for examples of how to do this.
So like the shed dormer on what is shown here as rear south elevation. That's your proposal, is rather than on what's currently listed as left west elevation, you're saying shed dormer there as instead of gable dormer.
Just so that it's not so high, you know,
Yeah,
it could even be a couple of little dormers, but it seems to be out of proportion.
Yep. I agree with you entirely.
And the French door is not in keeping with the period of the house next door or what this one is trying to be. I'd recommend a panel and 12 lights or something other than 15 light French door.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And the last thing I want to say is that I think they're proposing simulated divided lights for the whole thing. And when you drive through town and you look at the buildings, the old buildings that have the new insulated windows versus the old buildings that have the true divided light, there's a very different feeling. And I think it's an unfortunate turn of events that we're getting more and more insulated windows. And it's actually been proven that they don't last as long as the original windows. I'm referring to the old houses. I know this is a new house.
Sorry, Angus, I missed your last sentence.
Well, just that a lot of the old original windows in
Yep.
the antique houses are going away for simulated divided lights. And I think it's a sad turn of events, but in this one, it's a new construction, but it's surrounded by old Sconset historic. So it seems like it should be fitting in with everything else of true divided light.
Thank you.
Okay, I will weigh in and just say that I agree with Angus, of course. I mean, you look at those facades with the high gable on both the right and the left, and I mean, it's so out of proportion. I think they could get the same amount of space if they raised the dormer on one side and lowered the big gable on the other side. I like the little porch. The front door could be, like a Dutch door or something. This, you only see this when you walk down there's a little shell path that I just walked down this morning. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of room there for this building, but I guess they've got enough room.
I think it's where the bike racks are, Clement.
Yeah, and there seems, back in there. So, and then it seems as if the access to the basements, to both basements of both buildings are across from each other. So that's some sort of symmetry. I don't know what. But they will be tucked away behind one building and to the side of the other. So that's all.
Thank you, Clement. Okay, so let me just, if I may, read some of this back on this application. The building is not subordinate to the historic building in front of it. It's unnecessarily high. It feels very large. The shed dormer on both sides. Okay, never mind. Oh, maybe put shed dormers on both sides or lower the big front gable and raise the shed dormer.
In order to subordinate the house as it should be.
I'm sorry, Mary, say that again.
In order to subordinate this structure to the principal structure, which is on New Street, existing on New Street. That's the whole goal, is to subordinate it to the existing.
Okay. And then the ongoing issue of true divided light as opposed to simulated, and everything around it would be true divided, and this would be another loss of that. And then Clement said, oh, and then Clements was raise the shed dormer maybe and lower the big gable. Okay, thank you very much. That's much clearer now. Okay, to move on, let's move on. Page 2. 17 Broadway, color change.
Oh, yeah.
Are we actually gonna review the revisions?
Oh, I'm
to
sorry.
15 new?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, let's look at that. Sorry.
That's okay. So they're calling the Pittman House?
Yeah, or they also, in the historic notes, it also indicated that it was Folger and Coughlin and So this is what's currently the manager's house that he's sharing with the assistant manager.
Okay, and so this is the one for the full foundation. I see a lot of window changes also.
Holly, is there a window survey for this?
I don't see one.
If this is to 1830s to 1850s or 1820s, I would hate to see a whole bunch of original windows facing the street go away, let alone the other ones around the building.
Not seeing, besides what's proposed, back up here for Anderson's.
So that looks like that's what they're proposing as a replacement, correct? Not what's currently there. I mean, they are at least TDLs, but to Angus's point, if they're replacing historic windows, that's not such a good idea.
Yeah, it says replace windows and doors. It just doesn't say.
Some windows and doors were replaced, is what they're saying. Right? Yeah.
Can we recommend that they provide a window survey?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's, this is Rob. I think that it's very important for this house. It's obviously, it's got a venerable history, which is probably a redundant comment, but be ashamed to lose those windows.
Unless they've already been lost. This thing that you're showing here, Holly, I can't really read it,
I
but
can't either.
size of my screen, but that's what was approved in, when was the addition, 2003? Or when was the renovation, 2003? Yeah. So
2003.
did they already screw it up is the question.
That's a possibility, but this is definitely the Windows schedule at the time. So I think that would be definitely beneficial to ask for a revised schedule
Mhm.
based on what, because that's hard to discern this at all. You can't read that.
My guess is that window schedule would be for the addition that was done on the back.
Possible.
Yeah, that I just blew that up. It's illegible. So,
Yeah.
okay. How do we feel about
Let me get to that for you.
the full basement? I don't have any problem with it.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Thank you.
How do we feel about the, on the rear of the house? It looks like there's a sliding glass door. That may be existing, I don't know. There we go. See that? How do we feel about that? Oh, that's existing. Ugh. Well, I don't feel good about that, but it's already there, so.
There, yeah.
Well, if they're looking to replace it, there isn't any reason why we can't recommend a better replacement.
Good. Good plan.
Okay.
Well, it definitely says replace doors and windows. So,
But not with
was-
like kind, please. We don't want
No.
another plate glass window. If we
no,
can help.
we'd like to know what that is. Yeah,
Does that look like a slider?
definitely.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
How does everybody feel about on the left, indicated as west elevation? which I'm actually not sure it is. It may be left or it may be west, but doesn't quite work for me somehow. I actually think I think it's actually the north elevation, to be perfectly honest. How do we feel about that stairway, that egress way for the second floor apartment?
If you look at what it says for rear north elevation, that stair is going towards the tennis court. And that's the view that we get of the French, of the, not the French, but the sliding glass doors.
Okay.
So which would make that left side,
Oh,
left
okay.
on the street be the west.
Got it.
And I thought we were discouraging exposed stairways.
I did too, but the fact that this is going to be an apartment. Yeah, actually, this is the west elevation then. That's just the way it's being pictured. Got it. I thought we were, but then the question is, I mean, if there's a second floor apartment and you probably can't get to it with an internal staircase in order to have the privacy that they're looking to get.
Does that fall under a fire escape thing? Like on the back of the summer house?
Maybe.
Is that a similar situation?
Egress.
Egress, thank you. It might.
Yeah. And it is in a fairly invisible place. I mean, you know, that's maybe the least visible from public walkways.
That's pretty classic Nantucket house right there.
Sure is.
It's not a very classic interior, though. The stair is nowhere near the front door.
Right.
It's
That's
been
true.
It's been all chopped up and changed. It's had so many renovations.
Well, I meant the street side. How am I doing? Okay.
I'd
But
like them.
I don't know what this is Clement. I don't know what this means. Brosco TDL. I mean, that's what they're
The windows, they're true
identifying
divided
underneath
lights.
the windows. I don't know what Brosco means.
It's a
But maybe
manufacturer.
is a manufacturer. So is that okay with everybody?
Roscoe means cheap.
Oh,
They
Well-
generally rot really quickly.
They do. I don't know,
Mine
Brosco,
did.
Marvin.
that's too bad.
Mine rotted very quickly. And I got Brosco knockoffs. Okay.
Brosco knockoff. Well, to the question about the exterior stair, it's something that we discourage. People in the neighborhood will certainly look at it, but I'm not sure if you can see it from a public way. So maybe recommend a viewing.
Okay.
Well, but I mean, I agree with Mary. If this is an upstairs apartment, you know, that's the access. So, and that's what they need this for, is employee housing.
Yeah, but if it's new construction, a new addition on the back, why can't that be incorporated in the building?
Okay, I think going forward it could, but this is not new construction. So I don't think that stair is there now.
The stair is new construction.
Yeah.
Like that eave line could come down a little bit further towards the west in that north elevation and just,
Mhm.
enclose the stair.
Oh,
Ah,
Or
that's why
something.
you're the architect, Angus.
that would actually be quite attractive.
Okay, so we've got, we'd like them to provide a new window survey, a revised window survey. No concerns for the basement. We'd like to see a better replacement for the existing sliding door. And we generally discourage exterior stairs, but perhaps this one could be enclosed. Understanding that it's a dormitory situation. Okay, thank you, everybody. Now we will go to color change on Broadway.
Yeah, I have a real problem with this. This is Mary.
The maintenance of painted lattice or the blue?
The blue, the color blue is ghastly, and it's the same as that house that they showed us in pictures on Sankaty Road. And I wondered how that got approved when it got approved. It's just down the street from you, Rob.
All right, thank you.
So, 30 or 40 something Sankaty. And it's not an approved historic color, whereas this is. I mean, this is the heart of the village, and to put that blue that has no traction in historic terms seems unacceptable to me.
Except for like, maybe in some cases where it's really integrated into the building or on a porch or something, like looking at the front porch, see the columns that are close together, the posts that hold the porch, if that were lattice, that would be, you could almost understand that being painted, but lattice up against a house, I honestly haven't seen painted. And I mean, what a nightmare that's to grow stuff on it, and you would never be able to paint it or grow. It's one or the other. I'd recommend natural.
You're recommending natural lattice. I think that's fine. Yeah. But my issue is, I mean, if they want to, that house has had painted lattice for as long as I can remember. So I don't have a problem with the current color blue because we're all used to it, but I do have a real problem with the 45 to 47 Sankaty blue.
But what about the lattice around those windows where they're proposing it?
Do you mean, are you looking at the house on the right?
Holly, can you scroll down a little bit, please? Or is it up?
Up here?
I'm sorry.
I see
there.
what you mean. I see what you
Mhm.
mean. And that's
That's-
that's new lattice?
That just seems like madness to me.
Yeah, I don't remember that that's there. I thought you were talking about the lattice on the porch.
I was talking about lattice on the porch, that might be a circumstance where you might have painted lattice, but up against the house. It seems like the only appropriate thing would be a natural that would just blend in with the wall. I don't know whether that's photoshopped or what.
It must be. That colored in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gotta be.
it's,
So do you think or is that a picture that they took last summer before they started the work?
this is Rob. I'm here. I'm just confused. So the example of the house at Sankaty Road, it says proposed. That is the color.
That's the
That's
color they
not-
want.
Proposing, and I'm saying no to that.
Gotcha. And
Angus
was
is
that-
talking about something different, which is the use of lattice.
Gotcha.
Colored lattice.
Right.
Oof. That'll work for the first few years, and then. So is that existing? That was the question, or has that been colored in? Is this an as-built?
No, I don't think so. I think the picture that we see on the left that says
Yeah.
existing blue on house doors lattice.
Yeah.
I think that's the way the house looks now, if you look at
Okay.
and whatnot. And if you look at the picture that's just up the screen from it, I think that was taken last summer, because if you look at Broadway and you see the red car, isn't that Professor Crow's car sitting in front of the house?
Yes.
And it looks to me as if there is weirdly painted lattice on the house at the time. I don't remember that it had it, but it would appear to be there.
Or once again, this is Clement, is that photoshopped? Because I don't remember painted lattice at all. And I'm not, I mean, the door, the current blue that they have on the lattice over the porch and the doors seems fine to me.
Mhm.
I don't know why they want to change the color, but painting the lattice makes no sense unless they feel that that ties in somehow. I think the lattice should just disappear and be natural.
Yeah, and used to hold up climbing vines,
Yeah.
as lattice does.
Yeah, this picture where it says existing blue on the house, there is no lattice over those 3 windows to the
Well,
right.
yeah, well, that's because they reshingled it. Maybe they want to repaint it that awful blue before they put it back up. Just a thought. So I think it looks like there's already a lattice on this house on the left. And it may or may not have been painted. If they're giving us Photoshop stuff, we're gonna have a problem with that. But I believe that we're saying we don't like the new color.
That's what I'm saying.
And I is who?
Mary,
Mary, thank you.
I do not like the color on 45 Sankaty Road.
As a color choice.
Correct. Well, I don't like it on the house that it was approved for either. I don't know how that got approved.
But the existing blue would be fine.
Fine. It's
Yes.
traditional.
I'm with you, Mary.
Great, so we're agreeing with that. The existing blue we'd like to keep, and we'll just leave that other blue on that house forever. Okay,
My
Well,
only
can you
question
make
would
a
be,
note
there's-
about the lattice on the street side around the windows, where it shows in some photos and not in others, and that we're not in favor of painted lattice there.
unless they're just putting it back up. Or
I
is that,
don't remember that being there.
yeah,
I don't either. It says proposed west elevation, no changes,
Yeah.
but there's no lattice on that. So there is the lattice over the porch and there is the front door, but no, I'm confused because it says Benjamin Moore top 3 color matches and lists these 3. Maybe this paint that shows the existing blue is no longer available.
They
And they're
make
trying.
colors every
they're-
day. They can
They're
match it.
trying to
can
match
figure-
it.
oh, man. Yeah, I'm I don't remember seeing that blue lattice around that window. In either of those 2 photographs in the center and on the left. And
looks like it's there.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like, and the more you look at it, it doesn't look like it was Photoshopped. That looks like it was there. And this does say prior to renovation.
okay. Well,
Well,
if that's the case,
If they don't choose to put it back, we have no issues with that.
Understood. This is more of a, I guess, a warmer blue. I mean, I can't go by these name colors. This is like a robin egg blue is what this is reminding me of. So
There is
no-
a historic color that's like it. I think it's called Hamilton blue or something.
I think you're right. I think it's Hamilton. on the left.
And that's one of the approved colors, one of the HDC approved colors.
I've had it approved.
Yeah.
This is Rob. I don't want to see that color on the left start creeping around. Oh God. I won't say what I was going to say because then I'll just start another firestorm. So anyway, so we don't like the color.
We don't like the one on the right.
Correct. So because it reminds us of a 60s porcelain tub and toilet colors. But I didn't say that. Okay.
Onto Waddy Lane.
All right, moving on now. 6 and 8 Hydrangea Lane.
Oh, this is hysterical.
Is there anybody from the applicant who's here for 6 and 8 Hydrangea Lane? No, I don't hear a response. Okay. Holly, if you could bring that one up.
So remember the pool that you all saw
Couple of
back
weeks ago.
here? Yes, and HDC just looked at it last week, just to give you that time frame. So here it is, the existing house with the addition.
I mean, that's the most inventive thing I've ever seen. Buy a small house and the lot next door and glom a big house onto the existing one. Have we seen this before? This is really quite novel.
Yeah, there's no breezeway. It is different.
Well, they're merging the two properties so that they don't have to deal with setbacks.
Right. Okay. And any thoughts from anybody? Please speak up on the design itself. I have my initial thing is it's Hydrangea Lane, it's way back. And as I understand, Holly, I think I'm right. I read the minutes for the pool. They want to cut back some of that hardcover.
Yeah, the fact that it's being completely, enclosed by a sea of green, and yes.
Rob, I have a couple of concerns.
Thank you.
One is, just the whole duplexness of it. Two front doors, 2 driveways, a garage that's flush with the facade instead of being stepped back at least 10, 12, 14, 20 feet. It's confusing when you have 2 front doors. And it is hydrangea. But I think even hydrangea
Deserves our respect and its own dignity.
thank you, Mary, for finishing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I apologize to Hydrangea Lane. So
I mean, this is Clement. This really feels like the merging, which it is, merging of 2 houses. So the little existing house is going to have now this great big old thing to its left, stuck on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one to wonder about the economic value to the owner of doing something like this.
I guess one suggestion is just push the garage back and have that, really what's acting as a side door, read as a side door facing south, I guess, to the left, to into the drive with the garage pushed back, maybe. Yeah.
Doggone it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that that's really is a garage. I mean, if so, it should be way back. Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah, God, just attached to the house.
Yeah, it needs to be, it needs
Really
to
weird.
subordinate the way the original house is subordinated. So the addition is the dominant structure, and it should read so from the street, which with the garage where it is, it does not.
Yeah, that's right, Mary. Since it is the new major portion, it seems like the existing house would want to push further back, or the new addition would want to pull forward, and the garage would want to push back. But the door on the front just seems like an afterthought. There's this long porch, but there's no door going out onto it except sort of, around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could get this to work. It's just, I think it needs some tweaking.
I wonder if they have some setback issues. In other words, they can't set the main house, the addition, which is the dominant structure. They can't really move that any closer to the street because they're already, within the setback. I don't know that. I'm just asking that question.
See that little dot dash line that goes around the whole property?
Yeah.
Exactly, Holly. I think that must be their setback. So,
Yep.
the two flanking sides would have to push back.
Right.
It could be done.
At least for the garage.
Definitely for the garage. They can get it way back if they get rid of the pool. Okay.
That's a weird one though. I wish
It
we
is.
had someone to explain that to us, but
Yeah.
that
Okay,
would have been helpful.
So this one, it looks like it has two front doors. And we'd like to see the garage pushed back from the front facade. It has a duplex look to it.
They've really built out every square inch of that space. I mean, there's something going on both lots. The way they've
Yeah.
figured.
And also we have two, I realize it's two lots, but if it's one lot, I don't know if they can have, the curb cut, the second driveway.
I brought that up to the pool agent, and typically they're gonna have to go to the planning board for a few things, modify their subdivision, and also receive a special permit, which they can do through that process for
Yeah.
2 curb cuts. But I don't know where they stand on that, so that should definitely be brought before the HDC, because if you remember correctly, the pool application was also for an apron on that second curb cut. And of course, granted, it's a chicken and the egg scenario, but from a whole overall planning perspective, that needs to be taken care of, as well as obviously this proposal for the addition, that needs to be taken place from a zoning perspective too. So a lot of those things need to, if they have not been done yet, need to be done.
So it all needs to be tracked. In other words, no permission should be given for anything until they deal with the zoning issues.
So, well, here's the thing, from the building permit perspective, the zoning enforcement officer and the building department are not going to issue any building permits that are going to impair setback regulations. So they're going to want to see planning board approvals for those things, as well as HDC approval. So really, HDC doesn't necessarily need to be waiting for those being done. It's really the building permit, but they should all be aligned, and the agents need to work together on that. That's all.
Well, I think in my mind, the other part of this is which is the dominant building. I mean, which is the front door you want, and make that clear.
Okay,
I'm not sure what we're looking at right now.
that's the cabana for the same property
Yes, which is back here.
back
Oh,
there.
thank you. Thank you.
They could make that the garage. Ah. I've got a very small screen. Is that a fireplace?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's got everything. This property has everything but the bocce court. I haven't seen the bocce court.
Yeah. Okay. This is Rob. This is somewhat. Oh, I see. So that's an open. That's a covered space underneath.
I guess.
On the north so-called rear elevation. So that's all that's see-through there, right? That's just a patio, a covered patio, let's say, or a covered
Yeah.
deck.
It's
Yeah,
that
but
yellow
where's
space
the
with the
bathroom?
couch.
There's a bathroom there. It's not just, it's gotta be
Yeah, there is.
enclosed somehow. It's not just totally open in front of that sofa.
I think this doorway that you're seeing goes oh, yeah. I think the doorway goes into that room that's behind the chimney. I don't know what that is, but
Oh,
then
I
the
see.
bathroom is on
This
the
door
other
is
side of the
here.
building. Yeah,
So that door's here. You've got two doors that go into this bathroom, one that from the covered porch area, and then the one, I guess, on this, which is facing the house. Is that a slider of some sort?
it looks like the door, oh, that's gonna be a tricky door. You see how it could easily bump
Oh.
into it.
That's the, looks like an outdoor shower. So this is what you're gonna be seeing
Oh.
from the street. You go
Gotcha.
in from the
Oh, I
covered,
see. You go
and
in and then
that's-
outdoor shower. Okay, well, all right, that, but you're gonna have to close one door to open the other door. It's not exactly elegant.
Well, I think that's a permanent structure that just keeps you from seeing people taking a shower. That's not a door.
So on in the east or right facing pool elevation, they're not showing the shower, but the shower would be to the left of the bathroom door there.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to be very limited visibility, and the west, certainly, I don't see a problem with it. It is a little funny to have a tiny building like this with a chimney, but you know, it's kind of charming that way, I guess.
People like their outdoor fireplaces. That seems to be another one of those things that you're gonna start seeing on every plan that comes along from now on, along with the pool, the hot tub, the.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like a covered fire pit, you know,
Yeah.
you get to be in there in the rain. It'll be a good place to cozy up after the swim.
Just another pool to visit in the off season. Okay. So we don't have any concerns for the cabana. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to 10 and 12 Canterbury.
And this isn't one that we've seen before?
You've seen this property for, I believe, this structure, and I actually think the main dwelling as well.
Was this the house with where the main dwelling had the 2-story windows?
Think so, yes. I believe you're correct.
Oof.
Does that seem like a very large pool?
Olympic size. 16 by 54.
That's relatively large.
Yeah. So they own the second lot, the lot to the east of the house. And on that, they've got the cabana and a lot of landscaping. And what's down, is that a solar array down in the corner on the
Yes.
east? corner?
Yes, I
Okay.
have not seen that yet,
Aha,
but this application before you is for the pool and the curb cut down here. As you can see, being in a double lot, they also have, but they're not merging it, my understanding. There's still a property line in the middle.
and so they'll have on the secondary property, they'll have a curb cut. And I see where the curb cut is, yeah. And then they'll have the solar array and the cabana structure, I guess. Or guest cottage or whatever they want to call it. All right,
I think the curb cut is far enough away that you would imagine that that's just a buildable lot down the way. I don't think you'd read that that's part of the other driveway circle.
That is correct.
And the pool is invisible in an area where there are going to be a bunch of pools. So I don't have a problem with the application.
Yeah, I don't either. 10 and 12.
There is a house already that has 2 curb cuts, so on Canterbury, at least one.
Maybe that's where they got the idea.
sure.
Um,
What do you mean?
This is Rob. I recall when this subdivision first went in that they were not allowed to put secondary dwellings on those lots because of the access, and the access was not granted because it went across the well fields. The bulldozers were out and they were going to cut a paper road from there to the Milestone Road. So when the planning board first approved this, there were many lawsuits, as you can imagine. Because they didn't have secondary access, they weren't going to allow secondary dwellings. And I'm guessing that still holds.
But they all have secondary dwellings.
Well, they have,
I mean, all the people on Packet and Canterbury now have secondary dwellings.
they have
Garage apartments, maybe.
garage apartments, which I guess has been redefined enough. So, but I don't know if that's still part of the plan. And I don't think it's a pertinent to this application, but maybe that's why they've got a secondary dwelling on the other lot.
Well, they already have the main house, the garage, the shed, the pool, and then the
Yep.
pool cabana is on the secondary lot, is on the second lot. So
Yeah, right.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
they got a lot going on.
I have moved on to the next application and because of time.
Okay.
Both Angus and I have Historic Structures Advisory Board at 1, so
I know. All right, thank you.
not a
Just wanted
problem.
to-
And these last couple applications are really imperative, I think.
Yes.
The window changes. What's the story?
It looks like it's just a half round in the west gable. And there's a theme of half rounds throughout the house.
Yep,
So it seems appropriate.
it's fine. And that isn't even going to be all that visible that far back.
Is that all they're asking?
I believe so. I thought Matt was here. I don't know, it could be. But yes, I believe.
I am sorry, Polly.
Oh, that's
Can you hear
fine. Not a problem. The only thing that you're doing with this revision is the half round on the west elevation, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, that
Yep.
is correct.
So, and sounds like Sconset, you are okay with that.
Sure.
No concerns.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, no, it's been interesting. Thanks.
Okay, 8 Bank Street. Let's see.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to
Recuse your,
present and recuse myself from the board.
Okay. And while you do that, would you mind explaining this application for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
So there is a family of 4 who have recently purchased what was a hot dog stand with the original building date. Is that correct from the 30s? 38, Holly. There's been quite a few changes along the way, looking at old photos, as far as the roof lines, the fenestration, the new chimney, the scooped out part where they have a garden and an outdoor shower on the north side. Yeah, off to the right of that picture. And so at the further down is what we're proposing to do, which is really to simplify it, really bringing it back more to the very simple, almost austere shapes of almost everything down in Codfish Park at one point. If you scroll, sorry to do this to you, Holly, but if you scroll all the way down, there are just some images that were inspiration for this. And you just go all the way down. Yeah, there are the as-built but yeah, keep on going. Thank you. I will scroll back up, but I just wanted you guys to have this image. Yeah, there are 3 images here where pretty much everything down there looked like just a very simple gable with either barn doors or sash and barn doors. Very simple. And we've watched as a board, and residents of Sconset, we've watched just a transformation of Codfish Park, and there's very little reminder of its history now. So I think that there's an opportunity here to actually bring back some of this look. Holly, you can scroll back up. Thank you for your patience. So the idea is that that this would be like a barn that then got converted into a place to live. And so in the south elevation, you still have the orientation of that south facing front door, but then bringing the height up for a loft cathedral space inside, but outside the height gets brought down both by the bank that this is dug into and backs up against, but also that little porch roof that comes off the south. It's like 8 feet by 9 feet, so it's relatively small, but it would give them what otherwise doesn't really offer an outdoor space there for them. And then what would face Bank Street would really read as a barn with rolling doors and just sort of random sash on the front that is a reminder of a lot of the other buildings that were down there. The building grows almost 7 feet towards the north from the existing north projection of the building, so that we have about a 5-foot alley left of that dugout area, except the outdoor shower moves. So you would see this little alley on the north side of the house that's retained by the existing wall. And then this is what faces up the alley or up Bank Street, and alongside the bank, the hillside. Again, nothing formal, more whimsical. random. Each window is really intentional. One that looks from a landing, one looks from the gable, which is really the primary window on the second floor, because we don't have any facing the water on the second floor. I'm calling it second floor, but the eaves are 4 feet, so it's really kind of a story and a half. And then that little 8 light window to the left is it a little landing desk area that would look up the alley. And it would just, it would retain the plank doors with the sash in this one. And then it's sort of like the one that exists now on the existing building. But then the one on the south side would just be plain plank. You could go to the last elevation. Then this is what faces the bank, but it's deceptive because we're looking at ground level. If you're actually up on Front Street, you're looking down on this. And the bank is just sloping up from where that cut line is. The window wells on this side are just to get, the windows within reach from that floor below, but it's not like, 8-foot deep wells that have long windows. These are above counter and in a sitting space. And then there's the floor plan. So you can see how the doors work and how the front porch is. We're hoping to do a basement with an egress window, and there's the only place when you're surrounded on 3 sides by street and sidewalk and everything was to do this on the south, but there's a retaining wall and to do a little fence around it. So I think it could work well there, sandwiched between the porch and the other. That dormer that faces back towards the bank is just big enough for head height in the bathroom. So it's basically a loft with a bedroom, and then there's a loft that's gonna they need storage and stuff. So yeah. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I do want to say all the trim is natural. The sash I've put in the application for Essex green. And the reason for that is that looking at all the old photos, there was high contrast between the shingled walls and windows and doors, which made me think that maybe a lot of the trim and like the batten doors were painted a dark green, but we could go with a Nantucket gray, something that's less contrast. Welcome your comments.
Kind of like the Essex, and this is Mary. Angus, am I correct that the chimney is going away,
Yes.
right? And we'll have the barn doors there. So really the facade facing the street is going to change pretty radically.
Yep.
The facade from Bank Street.
Yes, exactly. When the barn doors open, what's on the inside? Screens or French doors or what?
They just want to have screen. They want to just be able to open that and have sort of open indoor, outdoor feeling there. Each part of this is a hoop to jump through. So the next piece is going to be the energy, calculations for that. There are ways of clamping those doors in tight to the building so that there isn't a wind whistling behind them.
Yeah.
I think we could probably get it as tight as any batten door that's out there in Sconset. But if we had to, for energy reasons, we're open to how that would get closed off. But their ideal would be that it would just be screen behind there.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I had a question for Angus, if it's okay.
Please, yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Is there plans to retain the existing windows at all? I saw you had a schedule.
Honestly, Holly, I don't think there's a single historic window there. From what I've seen and looked and operated, it's like all replacement. You guys know my history. I'll go to bat for anything and everything that's old and historic. But there's very little there.
Hi, this is Clement. I will confess that a friend of mine is a butter to this, and she got the notice that Tours End was going to add a second floor, and everybody went crazy. And I can see now, because there were no plans on that notice, Angus is totally improving this house. It's not a second floor, it's just a half floor. It's tucked back into the bank. I think it looks extremely attractive. I do question those barn doors, just because I know they fit into the whole idea of Codfish Park, but you know, they might be a problem going forward as to living there. You know, if they keep them open and it shows right into their living room or whatever. It's not the front door or the back door. It's kind of the side door. But they've got to live with that. I don't. But I think it's extremely attractive.
Thank you.
Mary,
Yeah, Angus, the overall total height increase is 6 feet, I believe. Is that right?
The eaves grow 6 feet, but the total height grows 9 feet.
Okay. Thank you.
And the height was a real issue for me. As you know, I'm always trying to bring buildings down. And so across the street, there's a new construction that's taller than the building across the street. And then we've got the bank and then the height of all the houses above. So functionally, I was trying to keep it as low as possible. But I feel like, you know, this is not, you know, by far, this is not something that's going to be sticking up. We've got the bank on one side and we've got tall, you know, full houses on the other side.
and then and this is Rob, and then you've got the top of the main bank, even up above the path. I mean, it goes up another 10 feet, doesn't it? To like Front
Yes.
Street.
Yes, it does.
So Front Street is another 10 feet above that. I don't, this is Rob. I don't have any problem with it. And the barn doors might be a problem, but on the other hand, it's such a good save, and it's a hearkening back. And, you know, it's like a boathouse.
Yeah, this is Mary. My feeling is that this is a very attractive structure. You should, of course, or the Amandalares should be prepared for the fact that their neighbors are likely to say, well, this is a radical departure because we're used to having little Tours End there, and this is not that. This is definitely a new structure with an old look, very good old look. It is an improvement, I think, on the current thing, but it's a radical departure in some respects. So it is a little bit of a neighborhood changer. I don't think it's an all deleterious. I think there's a lot of stuff in Codfish Park that's been a lot more problematic than this could ever be, but it is a big change. It's not just a little renovation.
Yeah. Well, I think
And I have no objections. I'm just saying that this is
Yeah. Gotcha.
practical perceptions.
Okay. All right. So we don't have any concerns. Simply put.
No, but we have been banging on a lot, I think legitimately, about how the neighborhood is being changed by all this building. And this contributes to that.
And Mr. Chair, just the overall comment about the barn doors, I think that is important to let the commission know
Okay,
that concern.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. If that's all, I'll just step back onto the board, change my hat.
All right,
Welcome back.
okay, so we're moving now to Elbow Lane, and this is the moving of the
Oh,
shack from north of Codfish Park to south to Codfish Park. Am I correct?
yeah, I think so.
This is Angus. I was so relieved to see this application. I was afraid for that building, and
Yeah.
it's kind of moving closer back to home.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's where the boathouse should have been, down closer to the boats.
And as well as, just so you all are aware, if you're not already aware, the HTC did allow a move, but the caveat on the move was that it was to be relocated in Sconset, preferably Codfish Park area. So I'm with you all that this is nice to see it being relocated within the same subdivision, just the opposite side, really.
Yeah,
Kudos to the 7 Elbow Lane people.
the Getchuses, nice of them.
And remember, this has moved once before.
Yep,
Originally the mizzen mast boathouse. Pretty cool.
Yeah, we like this.
no problems.
Perfect.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, I just dying to say something about that, but I won't. Let's see, in other business then, there's a discussion about the same property sort of, or I'm sorry, the North Gully Road property.
In lieu of, since we're about half hour over.
Yeah.
Would you all be opposed to being able to move that on to next week?
That
Is
would
that
be fine.
okay, Clement?
Yes.
I know this is
Yeah,
something that
that's
you wanted
fine.
discussion. Okay,
That's
thank
fine.
you.
I'm
It's
with you
just-
too, Holly.
I don't think we need 36 Main Street on here anymore. I think that was already discussed and happy with the outcome on that.
Yes,
Okay. And as far as Resilient Nantucket goes, I hope everybody had a chance to pop in a little bit. If not, it's all recorded. It'll be available on the town's website. It was a great success with folks from all over the world. So it was awesome to with that 3-day event. But then this is also a reminder, any comments you may have on the design guidelines. If you could give those to me by the end of the month, which is the end of the week, that would be most appreciated. Thanks for those
Great.
that have already done that.
Very good.
great.
My
Thank you.
comments, Holly, my comments were all kind of edits, like redundancies and stuff, which I'm sure someone has already picked up. So,
Some people have, I know I have, but that doesn't hurt, having that information. So if you do see that, please send along. I appreciate that. I know Phil does too. So more eyes on the on it helps.
okay.
Great, thank you very much. And before I take a motion to approve the comments that we've made, what I will do, Holly, is in our shifting of how we do this, I read a lot of these back to everybody, and what I will do is I will type these up for you and not send them around to the members at the moment, but in the future I'll do that. So if that's okay, to help you remind yourself what we said, I will send these notes to you. And in the future, I will probably send them to our members as well, but
I was just gonna
Today-
say that you could send them to everybody. That is what the chair for HSAB does. And if there's
Okay.
anything that is needs to be added, somebody could mention that, something that's already
Okay.
obviously been spoken during this whole meeting.
All right.
So however you feel you want to do that, not a problem.
All right. Okay, fine. Well, then I will do that. So in the case of doing this, is it appropriate to take a motion to
Please.
approve the comments we've made? And I'll send around a note for clarification if necessary. Okay,
Yes.
fine. I will take that motion.
This is Mary.
Yes. Thank you very much for that. Could I have a second?
Sure.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Mary Lathrop.
Yes,
Thank you. Angus?
Aye.
Clement?
Yes.
Rob is a yes. Thank you very much. And motion to adjourn. I will accept that.
I will make that motion, Mary.
Thank you very much. And second? All right. Thank you, Angus. All those in favor? Clement?
Yes.
Thank you. Angus?
Aye.
Thank you. Mary?
Yep.
And Rob is a yes. Thank you, everybody. Sorry this went a
Thank
little
you.
long. And for those of you that have to do ASAB now,